Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daps.
I'm Katie.
And we're on a new set.
This is the elusive new Geeks Corner set.
Step one. It is not complete yet because, as you know from previous times we've gotten new sets, it's a process.
There's so much tweaking to do.
Like 2 hours ago, I wasn't sure we'd actually be able to do this. I was like, maybe we'll go on location somewhere.
I was going to say, was it going to be another phone and
you never
Red
know.
Solo Cup
episode
of Geeks Corner?
Or on the camera, or, like all of those fun things. Like you just never really know what's going to happen. But we made it. We're here. We have our nice little Geeks Corner sign down in front. We have our nice Geeks Corner sign up here. I actually think
that's like the nicest touch, is that Geeks Corner sign down on the front of the desk.
Yeah. So if you ever want to find us on social media, whatever.
Only we had thought of that sooner.
# Geeks Corner.
We only had that sign for like 6 years.
Never with this desk though.
Oh.
Because it was right. It was with the other desk.
You're right.
It was one of those things that I've actually in the back of my head a few times been like, oh, it'd be really cool on the front of this desk. And we just didn't use it.
So true, Buster. You're so smart.
Once in a while. All right. What should people do, Katie?
You should go into the chat and say very nice things. Things like, hi, how are you? Kindness for your fellow man. Also, if there was a question in there, I would say answer the question. But
there is not.
The question is, actually, it's not going to be Disney related, but you'll see the connection. What is your go-to barbecue order? Like if you go to a menu with barbecue on it, the thing you are looking for.
What is that thing that you love?
Mine is a pulled pork sandwich. Every single time.
Okay.
A pulled pork sandwich is going to be my go-to for barbecue.
I do not have a go-to. Mine is usually looking around the room and seeing what's there and what jumps out at me. And if I'm going in blind, then I'm probably going to try like a sampler platter of some sort, because then I can kind of get a vibe for what the place is like. What do they do well? What do they not do so well? Those kind of things. And that will come in later.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that. There's lots of new things at Disneyland Resort this week. One of them being a new marquee for Bayou Country, which technically is still Critter Country until November 15th, if I read it right. But the sign says...
I took the sign, I took a right, I took a left. I was really confused. Sorry, that was a joke about like street signs. No, I
thought it was a joke about that.
No, well, sure, that is a street sign.
Yes.
No, I actually think that's again, we just had this discussion on the Patreon, which if you haven't found our Patreon yet, go find it.
We have fun over there.
We do. We just had a discussion on our Patreon about like holiday stuff and how like I know that they can't do it overnight. Shout out to the Disneyland teams that have to do it, because like that's a lot of work. I know that they can't do it overnight. I do wish it started after Halloween, but like but this one is another one where I'm like, again, the sign could not have been installed overnight, but it feels kind of funny having it now.
Do you suppose it went in when it did just because the walls were coming down?
Yeah, I was like, you have to put it there. Like
because you don't want to not have.
The only thing that they could have done
when they took sign?
No.
Oh.
That's not the only thing. I guess that's the second option, but that
cover it.
Yes.
Okay.
You take a bed sheet.
Or burlap. I feel like burlap would fit with that area.
Like I like the idea of a bed sheet that doesn't really fit. Anyway, no, like something to cover it, I think. But also, it adds to the vibrance of the land at night. Like it has lights in it, it twinkles, and
it's got like fireflies.
And so I think that there would be something lacking if that was not there. And with people doing cast previews or Magic Key previews or the WGI previews that were like before all of that, like I think that things would be missing if that was not there. It feels like it's its own part of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And the same way that the Critter Country sign just felt like part of Splash Mountain, in my opinion. It's in the queue. So I'm like,
anyway, what do you think about the actual sign?
I like it. I think it looks nice.
I like the little animals all around it.
Like the little animals.
There are so many, like there's the bird, there's the turtle, there's some other animals. Like I was really impressed at the amount of animals that are part of this sign.
Well, and something that I've heard people say a lot recently and I will fight back tooth and nail on, is that Disney has lost its charm.
Mm-mm.
Disney has not lost its charm.
It's adorable.
You see things like this, and it is not a mass manufactured sign. It looks like it is a custom made sign that is,
Or the big owl carving over in
yeah,
Disney California Adventure.
like none of that screams like mass produced whatever to me.
I agree.
And so to me, like, that's what Disney is really about, is it's like, oh, the wood carvings at Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse or Country Bear or like what have you. And a lot of people think that going into the new era of Disney and Disney parks, that those things are gone. And I think that this proved like it's still a very sweet land to me. Like Bayou Country or Critter Country or Bear Country or whatever the 5 names that this land has gone through. I always think that this land has been like one of the more quaint, cute, like cozy, and I think that matches it. So,
well, and I was thinking more about your charm comment. Is like you think Cars Land is full of charm, and granted, it's what 12 years old now.
she is, yeah, she's 12.
Yeah. And I think there's a level of charm to San Francisco that's different than others, but it's got its own unique magic and charm. And then you look at Fantasy Springs over at Tokyo Disney Sea.
Oh gosh, that
full
is,
of charm.
Yeah.
You look at what's coming to Disneyland Paris. It was at Disney Adventure Park. Is that the new name? Like that all looks ridiculously charming. In fact, I would say they're taking a park that was severely lacking in charm and throwing a ton of Disney magic and charm in it, which is a great thing. And I think there's sometimes a propensity to be like, oh, this isn't my charm, so it's not charm. And I think it's very important to remember that Disney is a business, and I know that almost is a
naughty thing to say,
a negative thing to say, but it's not. Because if they don't treat it like a business, it won't be there. Because if you just leave it the same as it was in 1955, people get bored with it. They're not going to keep coming. Rides get into disrepair. Lands get into disrepair. You go out of business.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say, is that nostalgia is a heck of a thing. It
only takes you so far.
True. And some people go, this isn't exactly how I remembered it, therefore it is bad. I don't think anyone's doing that with this sign, mind you. I don't think anyone's going, no, give me back the Critter Country sign. I'm more having an overarching discussion.
No, it's an interesting thought.
With my Snoopy mug.
But it's an interesting thought as you look at what popped into my head immediately was Rivers of America at Magic Kingdom and how that will be gone in the next year or so.
That's true.
And that's a hard thing to lose, especially for those of us that actually do go on the Liberty Bell every time they're at Magic Kingdom and do go walking around there and take, like, I think it's one of the most photogenic areas of the park. But I also recognize it's also one of the most empty areas of the park. Like it's one of those things that there's not a lot of memories being made there from the tens of thousands of people that visit that park every day. And if you only have a couple hundred people making memories there, when you could be having thousands upon thousands of people making memories there, that's not just good business sense to make the change. It's also just good memories sense. Like you want people to be making happy, magical memories at the most magical place on earth, in this case, Walt Disney World. And if you're not, Disney doesn't keep being Disney. So anyway, interesting segue or sidebar. That's what it is. Along with getting to see the new sign, which is adorable, and it's really pretty at night.
It's so beautiful.
The walls came down around Bayou Country.
The walls came down.
All except for like one little spot. And so you can now see Tiana's Bayou Adventure from basically every direction imaginable. And it looks great at day or during the day. And at night, it's magical. Like it looks like I could totally imagine it being in the movie because of the lights and the fireflies in the trees and all over the place and on the sign and you name it. Like they're all over the place. And we spent a lot of time there on Sunday, and there are so many details to see, to hear, to look at. I think not all of them have been revealed yet, and I can't wait to go back like with a tripod and like literally just spend time enjoying the area, absorbing the area, finding new details, looking at new stories that have been hidden within the queue and the attraction. But now that the walls have come down, it's really a good addition, I think, to the park.
Yeah. People are gonna leave this Geeks Corner today, and they're gonna say Katie is just a contrarian. Katie,
oh, you don't like it?
No, I love it.
Oh, okay.
I'm a contrarian to the general public.
I think a lot of people like this, though, don't you?
So what I was gonna say is that some people think that I'm like, oh, it's new, therefore it's good. I don't think that way.
So what do you think about it?
I think it's amazing. I think it looks infinitely better than Splash Mountain did at night, because I think it's actually much more visually interesting. Splash Mountain, yes, had the lighting, had the kinetic energy. I think this lighting package is much more dynamic for the attraction.
Well, it's modern.
It is.
It's really like,
and it's the kinetic energy. And I think that hearing down in New Orleans while you're standing there is so magical. And I think it is so like comforting. It almost feels like a warm hug from leaving New Orleans Square. Like it is.
There's a good flow.
It's incredible. Like the energy in that area. I never before walked that area and went, this really needs some work.
Well, and it connects it to the Rivers of America in that regard.
But I never saw an issue with the old attraction. I never was like, oh, this is bad. I took pictures of it. I loved it. Never took pictures of it at night, really. I took pictures of it during the day.
I did, but it was harder to take pictures. I can tell you, I got better pictures on Sunday without a tripod than I often got with a tripod, just because of it was very strong light in one place and the rest was kind of dark. And this is very nuanced.
And I think that I think it is a huge improvement. And I think that the joy that it brings, I think like the chatter that it brings.
And it's not even open yet.
No. And again, I'm going to say this. This is an attraction that even if people are not going on the attraction together, they have kids that are too young or too small or whatever, you walk by and the kids are going, that's the Tiana song.
Well, and there's a walkway.
And that connection did not exist before.
Speaking of walking by, there's a walkway that you can't get to yet that looks like it's part of the old queue, I'm pretty sure. I am very curious to see if that gets opened up, and if so, where does it go? And just looking at it the other day, it almost looks like it could just be a walkway where you can go up and watch the drop.
I would love that.
Or perhaps it's a photo op place. Like it kind of looks like it could be. I don't know if it actually is or not, but I am very intrigued to see what they end up doing with that. And maybe nothing. I hope something, but because it looks like a fantastic place for photos.
Also, speaking of the walls coming down, the walls also came down across from the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. That I think is, so far from what I've seen, I have not been on the attraction.
So the entrance to the queue area.
The most phenomenal stretch of queue. And you're probably like, what is even a phenomenal stretch of queue? Go look at it. Come back to me. Report.
Isn't it interesting too? Remember a few years ago, they were really going for immersive queues.
Yeah.
This is not that.
No.
Like you're still going through a queue. It just, there's so much to look at. But it's not like it's interactive with things to push and whatever.
That was my thing, was I was taken aback by how beautiful it was.
There's a fantastic mural.
There's a mural, there's fencing, and all of it feels authentic to New Orleans. And I think that is what Imagineering in general has done an incredible job with, even down to films. Like I think very frequently about Coco and how they went to Mexico and they went to the parts that were inspiring Santa Cecilia, and they were like, okay, how do we make this as authentic as possible? That happens everywhere in the company. And I love this look of this grand gate against this big yellow barn. And it's happy. Like, again, did I ever have an issue with the old attraction? Absolutely not. But this, I immediately was like, oh, I feel great about this. Like, this just makes me happy. And the music in the queue is really, really good. So I like standing there and listening to that too.
It's a fun experience being in the queue, it sounds like, too. But the buildings look gorgeous. The area looks gorgeous. can't wait to see what it looks like with thousands of people going on. Like, because an attraction really comes alive when there's people on board it. So like during the day, there were clearly the Magic Key previews and the cast member previews, but then at night there was nobody on it, and it was kind of almost empty without like hearing that every 30 seconds.
And what I'm excited for is I think the opening of the attraction is going to be phenomenal. I think we're going to see a lot of fun. It's going to bring a lot of life to land. I can't wait for the first heat wave after the attractions open. Because yes, people are going to go on it while it's cold, but it is a water flume attraction. And so I think that when it's hot, it's going to be even more fun. And
it'll be interesting to see if the virtual queue's gone by. Because if the virtual queue is still there, then it's going to be this weird thing where everybody's going to get it at 7 a.m, and there'll be some lucky people during the day, and then the rest.
True.
And you will get wet. Also, Ray's Berets is now open.
What a good name.
And it is the hat shop for the Bayou Country.
Did not see a single beret.
And I did not either. I actually looked for one.
I was actually disappointed.
I was like, isn't there? Because it'd be kind of an easy thing to do is make a beret that kind of looks like Ray.
Also, like they could even just make a plain beret. They don't even have to work super hard on it. Like,
I was thinking a beret that looks like Ray.
That's even better.
Like, I think that's a doable thing. Or there's something to do.
But I wanted a beret from the shop. Let me say that.
I also wanted the artwork on the walls. Like, so you walk in, there's these amazing carvings of different characters from The Princess and the Frog on the walls, and there's artwork on the walls, and perhaps the most magical are these jars, thank you, with corks, massive corks on them, throughout the store on these higher level shelves, and each one is like a home or a post office.
Imagine a ship in the bottle.
But
way more magical.
Yes. And each one has a different purpose. So there's Ray's jar, and there's the post office jar that's popping into my head. And there were some other ones as well. And probably a couple dozen?
Yeah. Like
at least a dozen, but probably closer to 24. And the whole room is kind of like, it's a darker room now. It's got blue light that kind of gives that bayou feel to it. And then over on one wall, there's kind of, I'm going to call them windows, where you see Ray fly across, and he does like a little heart and
for his Evangelion.
Yes. And then there's a little other magic things that happen there too. But for basically taking a hat store and making it a hat store, it's a completely different store.
I never really
exact same building.
I never went in Briar Patch that much.
Well, Briar Patch felt like I actually really liked it. I thought it was a really charming store too, because it felt like you're going into a log cabin, and this still does. But this one, as opposed to being a log cabin in maybe like Montana or something, it's because it kind of had that further north feel.
Yeah.
This one feels like it's in Louisiana, and I think that's a great choice, and because it does carry along the entire extension, I guess you could say, of New Orleans Square. Because if you look at the opening of Bear Country back in the day, it was considered a part of Frontierland. And I don't know that I would call this it's kind of part of Frontierland, but it's actually more of like a mix between Frontierland and New Orleans Square now. More New Orleans Square though, because it's the outskirts of New Orleans Square as you're going into Frontierland. But if you follow Rivers America way, or you can go to a galaxy far, far away. That's good too.
I think, wow, I lost train of thought. And then I was like, that was a grand entrance to that statement. What was I going to say? It was stupid. It feels like a type of place that you would want a fireplace in.
Yes.
Like, it feels very cozy.
Yep.
It feels very sweet. I always like a hat store. I can't argue with a hat store. Just like Disney, if we could just get a beret. Just do one beret. And then when it sells well, you can start making more berets. But like berets are an option. Berets are on the table.
There you go. All right. Well, right across the way is Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree, which is also now open, along with the train. But we just didn't have time to talk about it tonight. But Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree we had for dinner on Sunday night. And some of the team also ate it on Friday. So we've had a couple of different experiences now. And it's always a little bit unfair to test out a brand new restaurant on its opening weekend.
It's true.
So we will be going back just to see, like, to test consistency, to see how things leveled out, to see like portion sizes, do they stay the same, all of that kind of stuff. But we went on Sunday night. You had the
pulled pork sandwich.
I had the platter with brisket and spare ribs. And that also came with baked beans, coleslaw, and then like I'm going to call it a medley of pickled stuff, which was a pickle, a couple pickled jalapenos, and some pickled onions, red onions. And so we had ours. There was others in our group, like somebody got the loaded fries, which was way more filling than anybody expected. And then other people got similar variations on either the sampler, the platter, or pulled pork. Or
we
whatever.
Also got the funnel cake fries.
And the funnel cake fries.
Don't forget the funnel cake fries.
We'll get to those. We cannot forget those. First off, what did you think of your meal?
I thought it was excellent, actually. I have one critique of something that I know structurally is not going to change. Why are we doing bread and butter pickles? You just give me a dill pickle. I'm not even kidding. This is my big takeaway. Like days later, is I'm like, why are we doing bread and butter pickles?
You know what's I think they're trendy right now.
They are.
I just wrote an article on Knott's Berry Farm's Thanksgiving to-go meals, and one of their sides is bread and butter pickles. And I was like,
give me a dill pickle.
Yeah, I prefer a dill pickle. Just give me a
dill pickle, because what it did was, listen, before you come for me, just know that I am not mentally well in the head, okay? I like my pickles to be on my sandwich, but I don't want to not eat them. I want to take them off and eat them separately. Like I like to eat a little, I like to just snack on a pickle. When I took it off of the sandwich had this like really sweet aftertaste. And I expected that tang. I expected the zest. I didn't expect sweet. And then I said, let me give this pickle a taste. And then I went, oh, and like, they're fine. I'm not spitting out a bread.
So how about the rest
pickle.
of the food? What'd you think?
I thought it was great.
Okay.
I thought it was good barbecue. I've missed having good barbecue.
What'd you think of the sauces? So there's 3 sauces. There's a regular barbecue sauce, there's a mustard sauce, and then there's a spicy barbecue sauce.
The mustard sauce was a little vinegary to me.
Okay.
I thought the spicy sauce was really good.
I really like the spicy sauce.
It was really smoky.
And I like the regular sauce.
And
too.
the regular barbecue sauce was super yummy.
I kept going back to the spicy sauce.
I took Angela's advice and I mixed the classic and the spicy. And I was like, oh,
that was it, huh?
Heaven.
Nice.
Delicious.
Very good.
Yeah.
So I had the platter and I thought it was fine. Like it was the brisket was fine. It was a little fatty, one of them. The ribs were good. Like honestly, I didn't have any major issues with the main part of it. Like I thought the brisket being kind of fatty was a little bit like, I feel like you could have done a little bit better, but that's also nitpicking.
It happens, yeah.
Yeah, it's nitpicking. And that seems to be a common thing I was hearing from people around our tables, because we had 4 or 5 tables in our group on...
It's a popular place to be on Sunday night.
But it was good, like, especially with the sauce. Like, the sauce made it wasn't dry, which that sometimes when you do it in bulk, that's an issue. I thought it was good. The beans were okay. Like I liked them way better than Regal Eagle. I think I liked the meats better at Regal Eagle.
Fair.
I liked the beans better here.
I like the sauce better at Regal Eagle.
The coleslaw was fine. Like it didn't wow me, but it didn't offend me either.
Sure.
I wasn't a fan of the pickled
pickled
medley in the corner. The other critique I had is I was going into this thinking, oh, I'm going to take pictures and I'm going to share about this and post on it. And everything had been slopped on the plate. And so there was splashes of beans all over. And that part was kind of a little bit like off-putting, I guess.
Sure.
And I know it was ridiculously busy. They're rushing like crazy, so I get it. But you eat with your eyes first.
Sure.
And I have to wonder if I would have liked things slightly better if I didn't go, oh, is there something wrong with my food because it's all splattery?
There's also things missing from your
I
tray.
also did not get my piece of bread. And I think the general consensus from everybody was that the food wasn't hot. It was just lukewarm. And
like the temperature inside a tauntaun.
Hmm?
Like the temperature inside a tauntaun?
Yes.
Lukewarm.
I got you.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. I want to go back. I enjoyed it. I had nothing against it other than minor critiques. Yeah. My major critique is I want more speakers.
Yeah.
Oh,
what
wait.
the heck?
But also the churro fries.
Oh, funnel cake fries.
Loved
Super
them.
tasty.
Those were good. We got the caramel sauce.
Dipping sauce.
Awesome. I loved it. Like I was bummed when it was gone, and I wish I had like a third more of the.
It was like banana pudding fries with thick caramel.
It was so good. And I'm not even a desserts person usually, and I was literally just sitting there like going to town. It was fantastic. I do want more music. Yeah. I want it to be louder. I want it to go through the entire restaurant. If you want to hear the music, you have to basically be over on the main area by where they serve the food. Mm-hmm. And it's even then, it's not super easy to hear. Like downstairs is much easier to hear, but they don't have as many decorations because they do have the swing and the posters on the upper level. But basically, if you're by where the main posters are and where the stairs are, that's where you can hear the best upstairs. And then downstairs, you just basically you listen, you'll figure it out. But if you go down on the patio, kind of down towards Galaxy's Edge, there's no music there. And so that was kind of a bummer to me. And I'm hoping that's temporary. And they're like, oh no, we're adding. But I wanted
to hear Country Bear music.
So we're definitely going back just for the music, because what I did hear the music was great. Because we did spend some time as we were leaving being like, oh, this is where you can hear it the best. And it's actually really charming music. Overall, I'm going to give this a B+ for opening weekend.
Sure.
I think they put in a solid effort. I think as it's not as insane, hopefully, things will balance out. And I definitely want to go back maybe on Sunday and give it another try and see what we think. But I enjoyed it. Like, I would go back there on a fairly regular basis. I still like Tiana's Palace better, though.
Down with bread and butter pickles.
And I want my piece of bread.
And I want my pink shirt back.
Yes. They also forgot our drink. And that was the other thing we had to ask for. So there was a few little like things that was like, I think they're going to work out. But just be gracious and patient because they're figuring this all out.
If you guys see me on the internet, you're like, oh, that person doesn't have any issue asking for things. But no, I literally was like, I know I ordered a Diet Coke, but I shouldn't ask for it. I mustn't.
Yeah, so we took care of that. All right, finally for tonight, there's a new official trailer for the movie called Spellbound. It's coming from Netflix. And the reason we're talking about it is because the music's by Alan Menken and Glenn Slater did the lyrics. Yes, you have heard of them. Yes, if you've seen Tangled, you know their work.
I've got a dream.
There you go. And the voice of the main character is currently the live action Snow White. Mm-hmm. John Lithgow is in this, Javier Bardem. Like, there's a fantastic cast for this Netflix animated movie. Mm-hmm. And we've both seen the trailer. What did you think of it very quickly?
I think it's cute. I
want to hear the music.
I want to hear the music. What are we doing with not hearing music? I also think it's really predictable. Like, I could tell you I have two things in mind, and I'm like, I could almost guarantee you that one of those two things is going to be the ending. Mm-hmm. But it's cute. And I think that what the world needs is more cute media that you don't have to be like, you don't need think pieces. You just need fun. But I do want to hear the music.
It is interesting too, because it looks like it's got the potential to be really heartwarming. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when you have people like Alan Menken and Glenn Slater working on something like this, there's definitely the chance for it to really be something special. Yeah. On the flip side, it looks more like a DreamWorks picture to me. And it's interesting because they're in the promo, they're like, oh, from the creator of Toy Story and the co-creator of Shrek. And I'm like, that's exactly what it looks like.
And I thought it looked like an Apple TV film that was done by a certain former Disney executive.
That former Disney executive is connected with this.
I know.
It's the same company.
I know.
Yeah, they're definitely...
It felt like that to me.
There's definitely a look that's starting to evolve for this studio. And that will be interesting to see how that's received. And in the first movie that they did was okay. It was cute. I
remember you actually telling me that it was good.
Like I'm not gonna say good, but I enjoyed it. Like
you told me it was cute, I guess is the better word. Cute.
Like I enjoyed it, and it's worth watching. Welcome to Geeks Corner Plus, by the way. But it's not
break out the merchandise, baby.
It's not Tangled. It's not Aladdin. It's not Beauty and the Beast. Any of those. Like those are really good. But I'm curious about this one. I'm looking forward to see it. It's coming to Netflix in November. So
November 22nd.
I'm actually super excited to just be able to watch it from home.
Yeah.
Because I will admit the last couple of years, I think ever since the pandemic, watching movies in theaters has lost a lot of its joy, just because I feel like whatever manners people had before the pandemic were lost during the pandemic. And it has gotten so hard to watch. Like there's so many distractions now in movies, whether it's people talking or on their phones or playing Switches or like it's just amazing.
Seen a lot.
Laptops. Like,
yeah,
it's gotten to be such a distracting experience. It's like you can't really enjoy the theater. So in my perfect world, I just have this huge theater to myself, kind of like the Walt Disney studio lot theater or the one at Pixar, like something like that you could just watch it and you could not have anybody else in it.
I'm not invited to the movie theater. I am in the concession stand making coffee.
Okay, there you go. I like coffee.
And popcorn. I must make popcorn for
It's very weird because people come in and they're doing other things while they're watching the movie. And it really ruins it for the people that came just to watch the movie. And it's not very often I will sit down and actually just watch a movie. Like I'm usually doing other things, which is why I do it at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's definitely changed the movie going experience in a way that I don't prefer.
Yeah.
And but that's why I'm excited Spellbound's just going straight to Netflix, because I will probably watch it fairly early after it opens. And it'll be fun. As we always do in Geeks Corner Plus, if you have any comments or questions that you'd like us to address, throw them in the chat, and I'm paying attention to that. And Katie is too, actually. And so we'd be happy to respond to those in the next couple of minutes. If you have ideas for this wall, this white wall of infinity wall, this is the infinity wall right now, because it looks like we're not in a corner. Other than if we didn't put art up this week, we would just be disappearing. But if you have any ideas, we have a Patreon.
It's true.
Patreon is where we put together these ideas. So head on over to Patreon. Let us know what your ideas are for the corner, because this is just like 1.0 version of this set. This always happens when we're opening up a new set. Is a lot of the work this week is spent on just getting things working, which they're working, but not in an optimal way yet. So we'll get that better.
Pictures of Jar Jar Binks.
That would be cool, like a painting of Jar Jar Binks. We do have this picture. Itsy.
That's not Jar Jar Binks.
No, it's not, but it's Star Wars and Star Trek. So maybe Jar Jar Binks in Captain Picard's uniform. So then it's Star Wars and Star Trek.
I am so glad to this day that I made you spend more money on that than you wanted to.
It went to charity.
Exactly. I
spent more money on that picture than a lot of the equipment for the show.
We got into a bidding war at Rock for Chalk, and he won because he was being very stubborn about it.
I wanted it on the set.
And guess what?
It's on the set.
And I guess I won.
It will be on the set again soon.
I guess I won as well. And then I bid on this very lovely painting that is not visible right now, but
true.
It's beautiful. Just trust me. I will say, can I just go on a side note? Unless you don't want to say something.
Go ahead.
Cool. You just started giggling.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say something about Javier Bardem. I don't know why. I can't associate Javier Bardem with anything other than Pirates of the Caribbean.
Which is funny because you go there and I went to James Bond.
And that's funny. The reason I'm saying this is because I was listening to a podcast today and they were talking about Javier Bardem in James Bond.
He's one of the best Bond villains, I think, of all time.
And I was like, oh, whenever I hear that name, I only think of Pirates of the Caribbean. Only. That is the only thing I think of. And Itzy says King Triton.
Yeah, that too.
Like, we all have our own.
He's a very gifted actor, though. Like, he does, I think, a great job in whatever he does.
I just love actors like this where everybody has a different thing that they like. Because I'm sure everybody's like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Oh, Chris Evans is Captain America. Like, nobody's saying Hugh from Knives Out. Like, nobody's saying that. I am.
I was like, what about that Knives Out guy? I forgot his name. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
Yeah, fair.
But also to go on James Bond, I see Daniel Craig and I'm like, that's just my silly little Benoit Blanc. That is not James Bond. Not that the characters are too far off.
Let us know in the chat if we can talk about James Bond when the next one is announced.
Javier Bardem. He is King Triton and he is hot.
There you go.
What was he in Pirates? Was he in Pirates 5?
It was one of the more recent ones, yeah.
I don't even know if it's a movie that I saw. I think he was like a ghost. I feel like, okay, I've only seen Pirates 5. I need to preface that.
Which is funny.
Who's the reason I've only seen Pirates 5? I said, I haven't seen any of them. Do I need to? And he went, nah.
You don't actually.
Just
you can watch any of them at any point. And it's like, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you maybe don't start with 5 or 4 for that. 4 is the Mermaids one, right?
I think so.
Yeah. You don't
honestly, after the first one, I really don't care.
Exactly.
Like the first one, which is why I'm like, it's fine. The first one I love. Like I just rewatched it on a plane the other day.
I know. So I've never seen any of them. I know bits and pieces. My brother really liked the Pirates movies when I was growing up, and we're 15 years apart. But like to me, as an outsider, I just said, I don't know, is he a ghost? And then I was like, I don't know, aren't they all ghosts? Isn't that kind of the thing? Is that they're all ghosts? You better start to believe in nightmares?
Ghost stories.
Ghost stories. You're in one.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
That's Barbosa. I know he says that.
That's a good line.
Yeah.
Now I want to go on Pirates of the Caribbean again. All right, we are running out of time for tonight. Katie, what should people do?
Should adaptsmagic.com. Check out all the Disney and geek news as it happens. Subscribe to our mailing list and also find our Patreon. We have a lot of fun there. We're just like a little wacky, a little crazy.
And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the videos we have going up. We've got a ton of new stuff that's coming up. We've got more Deadpool. We've got more attractions. We got a lot of stuff. Before we leave, we do have one thing we need to show you first, though. This would normally be our Halloween episode. However, this is happening instead. But we did dress up Indy for Halloween. So enjoy what Indy looks like for Halloween. He's very thrilled, as you can see, to be a
Top
lobster.
Right is my favorite picture.
But there will be more pictures soon of the entire idea, concept, whatever you want to call it. But there's Lobster Indy. And that is all the time we have for you this week. So we will see you round the corner.
Bye.